We're in the Peyton Anderson Forum. It's called The Path. It's on the second floor of our building, and you can tell you're getting close to the path because it becomes this window-filled, airy space with actually a garage door that we roll up for special events, whether it's Dogs with the Dean, a free lunch that we have during the semester, or our graduation celebrations, or other events that are social in nature. But a lot of work gets done here in the Path. This is a gathering and meeting space where students often come together to collaborate on group projects. Those group projects, again, are looking at the intersection between media, news, and consumers. But this space also has a story. When I was an undergraduate here at the University of Georgia, this was not a window-filled gathering space with a lively energy for events. Instead, it was called the Drury Room. It was dark, it had bookshelves filled with books, and also it was a place that showed that our focus at that time was on print newspapers, print magazines. Now, this space, in addition to being a lively key space for gathering together, working together, socializing, it also shows the evolution from print journalism products solely to video and digital media and journalism and news coverage. The fact that this is a window-filled space allows people, when they're touring the University of Georgia, to see inside to what's happening in our college and also how the concepts of media and news intersect among our students and our faculty and our special guests. Speakers that we bring in have such a wide variety of experiences, and one thing that they constantly provide perspective in is the coverage that we see and how it's changed over time. And so as guest speakers are in this room, the Path, they reflect on their own experiences covering major news events, as well as how their roles have shifted in journalism. So as speakers come in, they will be talking about maybe how they started out just thinking that their role would be one thing through their entire career, and instead they have to pivot to other forms of journalism because of today's digital environment. That's a great thing because consumers have changed. We no longer are solely dependent on print media for our news coverage. Yes, there are still print media out there that are doing a great job covering their communities and serving their audiences. But at the same time, we have digital devices in all forms and in all sizes. News outlets and media need to be where the consumers are. So whether it's walking by a screen like we see behind me, or it's looking at our phones as we're walking, as we're riding buses, as we're together with friends, all of that connects, and all of it is how media is trying to be right where you are as a consumer. Newspapers were laid out in sections that really did not change for a while. Local, business, sports, features, the occasional food, religion sections during the week. But people looking at the print product could expect that they would get the print product and be able to know exactly where to go for that information. Now we have headlines coming at us in a variety of ways. You may see a headline to a story on social media. A friend may share a headline with a link to a story with you via text or in a group message. You also may have a shareable link on email. Essentially, we are getting sent stories and receiving stories in a variety of ways that makes it different from how it used to be in terms of us going to a newsstand and picking up a print issue. So media outlets know that you may not be going to their website first to know what's happening in the world. Instead, it may start with what you're reading on social media, and if they're lucky, you're going to their website to read more of that story or to view more of that video, as well as to read more coverage. That's why news websites have expanded to immediately attract you and to keep you on their site. So as the sections have evolved from business, sports, features, or lifestyle coverage to digital platforms, what you're seeing is menu items on the tops of media websites like the New York Times that, yes, still show that they're covering the world. Websites are now evolving and changing their menu items at the top of the sites to attract consumers at this point in time. So as a result, yes, you still have the New York Times, for example, with US coverage, world coverage, business coverage, opinion coverage listed at the top of its website. They also have lifestyle coverage where you can click in and see a variety of stories. But at the same time, they're expanding. Audio is a menu item now to show their emphasis on audio storytelling and podcasts. Games like Wordle is an emphasis on the homepage of their website. Cooking, you can see recipes, videos to help you plan what you're going to eat for the next day or week. You also have Wirecutter, which is their special focus on products. You know you can go to that section if you're wanting to buy something and wanting to see expert product reviews. In addition, The Athletic is now the New York Times coverage of sports. So instead of a sports drop down, it actually says The Athletic. This is drastically different from what we saw with the start of the digital age in media outlets, and definitely different from what we have seen with how print newspapers are organized. I grew up only reading print newspapers, and I'm so glad today that there are other forms. I have so many ways to read stories about people and places and issues and topics, whether I'm on my phone or my laptop, iPad, or if I pick up a print magazine or newspaper. So here's what I'm surprised by. Students often admit to me that they don't know how to read a print newspaper. Some of them have never had that in front of them to read. So I want to give you just some quick tips on how to read a print newspaper, just in case you see them in our hallways here in the college, or if you're working for a print newspaper or a print product, you'll have a little bit more confidence that you know how to get yourself through it. So the first thing to know is that the front page, just like the front page of a website, is chosen by the editors in terms of the stories and the headlines and even the placement. The items that are at the top of the newspaper, the top of the website, are deemed as the most important story of the day or the most newsworthy story, thinking about newsworthy elements. So you have that in terms of your layout in the print product, but that's very similar to what you see online. You have sections of a newspaper that have similar content. So there may be a sports section or a business section or a feature section. You're going to know that the stories in those sections all relate to the same type of topic. Also, when a story needs to continue from one page to the other, it does what we call jumps the page. It jumps to another page in the newspaper. And so this is a key difference between what you see when you're looking at a story on social media or on a website. You're not generally having to click on another social media post to get another story or another element of the story. Instead, you're there on the site. You just keep scrolling. In print products, you're not scrolling, so your version of scrolling is flipping to the other page where the story continues. So you'll see at the bottom of the story, it will say something like see and then another word that relates to the story topic, and then it'll say the page number. So you just flip to that page number to continue the story. Finally, another key difference is that print newspapers place the same type of content in the same spot regularly with each issue. So if there's a calendar with listings about community events, you can go to the same spot in the paper every week and know that you'll find it there. Again, that's how print products were trying to make it easy for consumers to access their information. In the same way, print publications also have obituaries. The obituaries generally are on the same page every issue so that people who want to read the obituaries know where to go. And sometimes they go there first to read about people in their community who may have died. So you see this desire, whether it's a print or digital product, to meet the consumer and to make it easy for consumers to read the news, to read what's going on in their community, to read what's going on in the nation and the world. It's just different in the delivery. And that is how media outlets have evolved to reach its audience in today's time, but also to still remember the tenets of journalism that it has produced for years and making sure that they're still delivering quality journalism to everyone as consumers. I hope you enjoyed this brief visit to the PAF. There's more to learn about these changes from print to digital media in the course materials.